Hi, and welcome to another video on kind of expert level Minesweeper strategy, at least as I see it. In this video, I'm going to talk about when you have to guess, but you can still make an educated guess and increase your probability of winning the game. So in the previous expert level strategy videos, I talked about counting and how that can sometimes give you all the information you need to win, and looking at advanced patterns, kind of situations that are really busy but can actually be simplified down to one of the patterns I discussed in the earlier level videos. And again, in this one, there isn't going to be one single right answer, well, guaranteed right answer, but there are right answers in that you will have the best probability of winning if you pick them. So, for example, this one here on the screen is a good place to start. In this one, there is, hopefully you can satisfy yourself that this is true, there is no way to figure out which of these squares is safe, or which one has to be a mine. Literally any single one of them could be a mine or could be safe. If you want to walk through a situation where any particular one is any particular way, feel free. But trust me, that's the case. So, given that, how do we maximize our chances of winning here? It comes down to simply applying basic statistics. So we have two mines left to find in this game, and the easiest way usually to do this kind of strategy is to start with a pair of mines where one has to be and one can't be, like these two. Obviously, with this 2 here already touching one of these is and one of these isn't. So let's look at the situation where, say, this one, closest to the 3, is a mine. Well, if that one were a mine, then this 2 would mean that one's clear, and that 4, and this 3 would mean that all 4 of these are clear. So the second mine has to be up there in the corner. So if this one's a mine, then that one has to be a mine, and we'd be done. Great. So in a sense, you might want to do that and say, hey, let's pick this one and hope that that's the mine, and then we're set. But that would definitely be a mistake. The reason is that there's only one configuration of mines in here where that is the case. But if, say, this one were a mine above the 4, well, what would that say? We would know that this one isn't, obviously, and it turns out this one up here in the corner can't be either, because the 3 has to be touching one more, and it's not touching that one. So if this one's a mine, then it could be any of these 4 that is the second mine to find here. What that means is that there's an 80% chance that this one is the mine because, yeah, an 80% chance that this one is the mine because there are 4 scenarios where there can be 2 mines in here available if that's the mine, whereas there's only a 20% chance that this is the mine because there's only one situation where that one is where this one is the mine, and it's when that one is also a mine. So you definitely want to assume that this one is a mine, and then click that one to open it, and then hopefully you can figure it out from here. We'll kind of come back to this situation later, but that is the statistically best option for you. But again, I happened to take a screenshot of this one, and I ran out of luck. My 20% chance of losing came true, and I didn't even get to try to figure out where another one would be there. That's statistics for you, but it was still the right choice, so I'm still happy with it. All right, here's another situation that's very similar, although it's, I think, kind of even easier to see how this one pans out. So again, there's 2 mines left, and we have this situation here where either of these 2 could be mine. You can do the same thing with this 4 and working if either of these 2 are mine. Regardless, So maybe this one here is a mine, in which case that one can't be a mine and that one can't be a mine. So the last mine we have to find would be one of any of these. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 possibilities where if that's a mine, then the other mine would have 8 places that it could be. Whereas if this one were a mine next to the 3, that would mean that this one isn't, and it would mean that this one is. So if this is a mine, then that one has to be a mine, and there aren't any other places for any other mines to be because that's all that there are left. So there's exactly one situation where this is a mine. It's when that one's also a mine, and vice versa. So looking at this, if this is a mine, there's 8 other possibilities. If this is a mine, there's only one possibility. So there's an 88.8% chance, if I'm doing the math in my head correct, that this one is the mine, and only an 11.1111% chance that these two are the mines. And I think, again, why I think this is a little easier to see is that it's kind of intuitive, right? Like, if this one were a mine, the other mine could be hiding in any of these situations. It's pretty unlikely that the computer randomly assigning 2 mines to all of these would put it here and then here. There's, that would be unlikely, just because it's much more likely to have one of them hidden down in this big blank area. At least to me, that kind of makes sense. If not to you, well, just use statistics. All right, and here's one more example along these lines. There's 3 mines left in this situation, obviously, and you can satisfy yourself that, any of these could be mines. That's entirely possible. So, again, there's no one way to know exactly which mine, which square is safe and which square has a mine. But let's apply our statistics. Let's use these 2s here, and one of these has to be a mine and one isn't. Let's assume that it's this one that's a mine, under this 2 on the right. Well, then that wouldn't be a mine, and that would be a mine. So these 2 would be mines, and this 2 would be touching that one already, so none of these other 3 it's touching are mines. And this 2 needs to be touching another, so that one would be a mine. And that would be all 3 of our mines, 1, 2, and 3. So if this is the mine, there's only one possible configuration of mines that is consistent with that. And on the other hand, if this were the mine, well then neither of these 2, bloody hell, neither of these 2 would be mines. And there could be a mine, say, here, and that would mean that the other mine would be, sorry, I'm doing this kind of in my head, here. Or the next mine could be here, meaning the next mine after that would be here. Or the second mine could be there, and the third mine would be there. So there's 3 scenarios that are consistent with this one being a mine. Having a mine here and here, or here and here, or here and here. So with 3 situations where this is a mine and 1 where that is, there's a 75% chance that this one is the mine and that these 2 are not. And fortunately, in this situation, I went ahead and marked that as a mine, and it turned out that that was correct. So happy day. Statistics worked for once. All right. This example is slightly different in that your initial guess, it doesn't matter which one you pick. In this situation, there's 1 mine left, there are 4 squares, and any single one of them obviously could be the mine. You have exactly a 25% chance of hitting the mine, and thus a 75% chance of not dying on your first click here. So how does statistics play into that? Well, you have to think ahead and say, given that I have a 25% chance of dying, and so it doesn't matter necessarily which one I pick, on that front, initially, what would be the scenario if I'm correct in that 75% of times and the square that I clicked on is not a mine? How will that help or not help me going forward? And this brings up an interesting principle that was explained very well by someone, and I apologize, I forget who, explained on the Minesweeper subreddit, which is that if you click on a square that isn't going to give you any new information, then it's a waste to click on it. If that doesn't make sense, think about this square here. Again, there's a 25% chance that it's a mine, so 75% chance that it's safe. But if you click on it, assuming you don't die immediately, what have you gained? What new information will you have? If you think about it, if this isn't a mine, then that's going to be a 2 right there, because that one's going to be touching that mine already, and one of these other 3 has to be mine, and this one's touching all of them. So that's going to be a 2. I already know that without having clicked on it yet. So clicking to uncover that would just be a useless 25% chance of dying, and it wouldn't help me find the next mine anywhere. I now have a 1 in 3 chance of hitting the mine. All right, so are all 3 of the other options equal? Well, not quite. Again, you have to kind of plan through, think through what will happen if you're correct. So let's go with this one. Suppose this is not a mine and you click on it, and 75% of the time it won't be, and so you're happy. And what will this be? Well, it could be a 3, meaning that that one is not a mine and the mine is up here in one of these 2. So there's 2 situations where this is a 3 and the mine is up here in one of those 2. Or it could be that this is another 4, and meaning that that one is the last mine and these 2 are both clear. So if you think about that, though, if this is a 4, then you know where the last mine is and you're done and you win. But if this is a 3, then the mine is going to be up in one of these 2. And again, this will be a 2. So it won't help you solve which of these it is, and you'll be down to a 50-50 chance. So you have a 75% chance of surviving this, and a 50% chance of surviving that if it comes to that. So adding up all those statistics, and you, depending how comfortable you are with statistics, you may or may not want to be doing these in your head. Maybe you just want to completely guess. But again, this is the expert strategy level. We can discount the 75% chance of surviving, 25% chance of dying by clicking on here, because that's equal with all of them. So if you go here and survive, there's a 2/3 chance that you'll have a 50% chance, and a 1/3 chance that you'll have a 100% chance of winning. So if you add that up, if I'm doing it right again, it should be a 2/3 chance of winning if you click here and it's not a mine. So much better than if you were here, in which case you would have to just guess even more. But turns out not even the ideal. Because if you click either of these 2, it turns out you can do even better. Again, it turns out these 2 are the same, so I'll just do one. If you want to do the second on your own, feel free. If you click on this one and it's not a mine, again, you have a 25% chance that it will be and you just die. But if you click on that and it's not a mine, well, there's the last mine could be in any of these 3. If it's in that one or that one, well, this will be a 3, because it's touching 2 already, and it'll be touching the 3rd one there, in which case you know this one won't be, and you can click that one open, and again, if it's a 4, then that one's the mine. If it's a 3, then that one's the mine. And vice versa, if this is a 2, that means that both of these are clear, and that one is the last mine. So in other words, if you click on this one, if you survive, you won't have to guess at all. So you have a 100% chance of winning if this isn't the mine. So it's ideal to click on this one, or again, you can try yourself and satisfy yourself that this is the same. Clicking on either of these will give you a 100% chance of winning if it's not the mine. So overall 75% chance of winning if you click on one of these, and a 2/3 out of 75% chance that you'll win by clicking on this one, which is 2/3, 3/4, 50%, I believe, overall. And if you click on this one, you're stupid. So don't click on that one is really the takeaway here. All right, another situation where this thinking ahead can improve your chances of winning. Here we have, obviously, one mine left. I hate these screenshots, sorry. So one mine left, and there are 5 squares down here that are still covered, unmarked. Any one of those, obviously, could be the mine. So you have a 20% chance of dying, no matter which one you click on down here. And so, again, you might initially think, doesn't matter which one I click on. Not true. So the first 2 to rule out are these 2. Again, because whichever one you click on, it will not give you any more information. If you click on this one and it's not the mine, it will be a 5. I guarantee you that, because it's touching 4 already, and wherever the last one is in here, it's touching that too. And this one here will definitely be a 2 if it's not the mine, because again, it's touching 1 already, and whichever of these last 4 it is a mine, it will be touching it, so it's touching 2 overall. Both of these are definitely dead ends. Not helpful. All right, what about this one? So if you click this one and it's not a mine, then there are basically 2 options. The last mine could be one of these 2, or it could be one of these 2. If it's one of these 2, then this will be a 4, obviously, and this will be a 3, and that'll be a 1. So it'll just be a 50-50 here between those 2. And if it's one of these 2, then this one will be a 3, so you can open both of these. That'll be the 5, and that'll be a 2, and it'll be a 50-50 between these 2. So no matter what, if you click this one and it's not the mine, then you'll be faced with a 50-50, whether it's here or there, doesn't matter. So you have a 50% chance of winning if you click on this and it's not the mine. Now, if you click on either of these, turns out that would be the best option. Let's think about why. If you click on this, it could be the fact that one of these 3 is a mine, the last mine, in which case you could unclick, you could click that one, reveal that one, and that would tell you whether you're dealing with a 50-50, which 2 out of 3 times you will, because of these 3 squares that it's touching. 2 out of the 3, obviously, it will be in one of these 2. So you might have 50-50, 2/3 of that time, but it might just be a 3, meaning that these are clear and that's the mine and you win. So if you click this, it's not a mine and it's a 3, then you have a 2/3 chance of having a 50-50 chance and a 1/3 chance of having a 100% chance, which again, as I understand it, works out to 2/3 chance overall, if this is not a mine, of course. So that's better than having a 50-50, 66%, better than 50%. So that one's better. And but again, this one might not be a 3. It might be a 2, meaning that the mine is not in any of these 3, and so it has to be there. And that would be great, because you don't have to guess at all. You can immediately clear all of these and find it there. So there's a 3/4 chance that the mine is in one of these 3, making that a 3. And so 3/4 of the time, you will have that 2/3 chance that I talked about. And 1/4 of the time, 25% of the time, you'll have a 100% chance. So adding that up, I don't even remember, and it's late, so I'm not going to do it. But it's better than 2/3. So because you have a 2/3 chance if it's one of these 3, but 25% of the chance you have a 100% chance. So better. This one is the exact same situation. Hopefully you can figure that out, work through it on your own if you don't see it immediately. thinking through the math a little bit, I'm pretty sure that if one of these is not the mine, you will have a 75% chance of winning, which again is better than the 50-50% 50-50 chance you have if that's the mine. Okay, with this last example, along the same lines, I'm going to be quite quick. Here there's 2 mines left and 4 squares that the 2 could be in, and obviously one of these 2 has to be, so one of these 2 has to be as well. So you have kind of 2 50-50 chances here. I will let you work out for yourselves why, but it turns out that picking either of the interior ones is the better choice, because to click on, I mean to reveal. So guessing that, say, this one is a mine means that you would actually learn something new, in that this could be either a 3 or a 4, and that would tell you whether this one is or isn't a mine. So basically you have a 50-50 chance here, but if you pick the right one here, calling that one a mine and that one clear, then you won't have to guess up here. And same thing holds with this one. If you click that one and uncover it, then it could either be a 5 or a 4, telling you whether or not this one here is a mine, and allowing you to win. So picking either of these 2 interior ones gives you a 50-50 shot. But again, statistics, damn statistics. I did that and ended up dying here, but what can you do? All right, this is a different kind of educated guess still. In this one, I could have cleared these 2 up here. If you remember from counting, for example, there's obviously going to be 1 here, and so neither of those can be. But again, those wouldn't give us any new information. That'll be a 2 and that'll be a 1. So you have a 50-50 chance here, a 50-50 chance there. You might think, again, naively, that it doesn't matter which one you pick, you're going to have 2 50-50 shots. So you have a 25% chance of winning overall. Turns out when these 50-50s are connected like this, there are better and worse ones to pick. And that's because if you pick, say, this one to uncover, then if you're correct, obviously, that will be a mine. But it will tell you whether or not this one is a mine as well. Again, it'll be touching 1 there, so it might be a 1 and that one's clear, or maybe it's a 2 touching that one and that one, meaning that that one's clear. So if you uncover this one, you will not have to guess if you're correct. Whereas think about if you uncover this one and think that that one is a mine. Well, you will... Sorry about that. I am stupid. I don't know why you're watching these videos at all. In this situation, picking either of these is the right choice, as you probably realized quicker than I did, because if that's the mine and you unclick that one, then it will tell you whether this one is a mine or not, and you will win. But if you pick either of these to start with, you are just hurting yourself, because if you pick this one and it's not the mine, meaning that that one's the mine, well, you got your 50-50 shot there, but this one is going to be a 4. It's touching those 2 already. It'll be touching that one, presumptively, and then 1 more here. But you don't know which. And again, that's going to be a 2, so you've got a standard 50-50. Same thing if you uncover this one and that turns out to be the mine. This will be a 1, that'll be a 2, that's a 1, and you're stuck with another 50-50. So picking either of these, again, you've only got a 50-50 chance of living, but if you do live, you won't have to guess at all on these 2. Whereas this one, if you pick either of these, you'll have a 50-50 chance of living, but you'll have a 100% chance of needing another 50-50 lucky guess. So pick one of these, not one of those. All right, here is the same type of idea. Ignore this situation here. Bloody hell. Ignore this situation here. It's just a 50-50. You're going to have to guess. So really there's only 4 mines left that we care about because there's nothing we can do there. So within these 8 squares, there are 4 mines, and you can probably pretty easily tell pretty quickly that any single one of them is a 50-50 chance of winning. But you can do better or worse. And it will happen like this. Assume you think this one's a mine above the 1, and you clear that one. So you have a 50-50 chance of that being the case. And then obviously you'll know that that one's clear and that one's a mine too. But up here, you will not have any more information on this 50-50, and thus no more information on that 50-50. This one here is going to be a 5. It's touching 2 there, and that one, assuming that you guessed right again. So that's 4 already, and one of these two, so it'll be a 5, but you have no idea which ones. It could still be that one and that one, or that one and that one. You're still stuck with a 50-50. So you made your 50-50 guess, and now you're stuck with another one. Turns out, if you uncovered this one instead, and that turns out to be the mine, well, obviously that'll be the mine, and that one won't be, but this one here will give you some new information. It'll be touching 2 already, these two on its diagonal, but if it's a 3, then that tells you that that one's a mine. Obviously that one's clear, mine and clear. But if it's a 2, then it obviously tells you that that one's not a mine, it's clear. You can mark that as a mine, clear that one, and that's a mine. So again, just picking the right 50-50 will leave you with either another 50-50 or not having to guess at all. You can hopefully determine for yourselves which 2 of these is the correct one to pick if you wanted to guess one of those. Again, you'll be stuck either with yet another 50-50 or not having to guess at all. All right, the last one I'm going to talk about here in this video is basically the same situation that was in the very first example I used in this video, where again you can do some basic statistical analysis and figure out that if this is the mine, then there are 4 situations where the mine is consistent with that one, and if one of these is the mine, then the other one has to be. So there's only one situation in which one of these is the mine. So you have a much better chance of guessing that to be the mine and clearing these 2 and then seeing what happens. That's true, but I didn't actually get into that second order discussion of thinking ahead of what's going to happen, and this example will show you what could happen. I went ahead and guessed that that one was the mine, and I was correct, as 80% of the time you will be, but this one happened to lead me to a 50-50 chance at the end. Obviously, I don't know anything about which one of these it is, and I'll probably guess the corner because that's just my go-to to make a decision faster, but there's a 50-50 chance that I would lose and that I would win. So is that still the best choice, to take this approach and risk having to get a 50-50? Because remember, if it was these 2, then all of these others would be clear and I wouldn't have to guess at all. So sure, I only have a 20% chance of being right, but I don't have to guess anymore, so it's a solid 20%. Whereas this one, like I said, is an 80% chance of being the mine, but there's some chance that I'll be stuck with a 50-50 chance going forward. Well, again, applying some basic statistics, you can determine that, well, if this is the mine, as it is 80% of the time, there's a 50-50 chance that you'll have a 50-50 chance, because the last mine could be here, or here, or here, or here. And in those last 2 situations is when you have the 50-50 chance. If it's one of these 2, hopefully you can satisfy yourselves. You will not have to guess, and you'd be able to determine pretty quickly which one it is. So you have an 80% chance of having a 50% chance of winning, which to my mind means that you have a 80% chance of a 75% chance of winning, which works out to be 60%, or 3/5. So That's a 60% chance or 3/5 chance of winning if you guess that that's the mine, versus a 20% chance or 1 in 5 if you guess that one of these, or both of these equivalently, are the mine. So you're still three times better off to go with this one as the mine and uncover these than guessing that these two are the mine. Sure, it might lead you to having to guess again, but the chances of that are overall still worth it if you're trying to maximize your chance of winning the game. It might not be the 4 times as good of a choice as a naive thought would be, because there's an 80% chance that this is a mine and a 20% chance that this is, so you'd think maybe that's 4 times as good. Turns out it's only twice as good, but still pretty darn good, so you should do it. So that's the basics of my statistical educated guessing lessons on Minesweeper. And like in my 2 previous expert strategy level videos, I am going to leave you with a bit of homework. If you're interested, I don't know if anyone is, but I obviously don't want to go through all of these step by step. So if you want, you can do them. If not, ignore them. So here's one homework problem. And here is a second. And a third. A fourth, and why not make it an even 5 like we did with the others. So I will also have a link to an Imager album with all 5 of these in it in the description, so feel free to look there if pausing a video isn't as handy for you. You can solve them on your own and keep it to yourself. That's perfectly fine. You can post it in the comments what you think the best answers are, or medium answers, or the worst answers at least, that you can rule out. Ask me any questions, subscribe if you like, and good luck finding all those mines.